Yeah, thanks for taking the time out to do this with me. I appreciate that. So, if we just get into this from the start here, do you mind just sort of briefly explaining like who you are and what is your general role within like the cheat selling industry? What does like a typical day look like for you?
Well, my name is Henk. I'm currently owner of. My typical day looks, I guess, just like anyone else. I sleep, eat, and work. That's about it. There's nothing special about it.
Are you doing this like full time, or is this like a side kind of hustle for you?
Full time.
This is full time, okay? Because that was sort of like the next question for me is, I guess whether you're able to make enough money from this to like be able to do it full time.
That's correct.
If you're willing to, can you give us like a ballpark figure of sort of how much, like if you have a pretty good,
I'd rather not give any ballparks or estimations on how much I earn.
okay, let's say you're somebody in your sort of position and you have a following for a game like Battlefield 2042, or let's say you're making something for Call of Duty. Like, have you heard of like just in general how much money people are making off of selling hacks online?
Well, people are pretty good in gatekeeping that information, but I can make estimations. Of course, there's large sellers who make millions a year just by selling cheats,
Wow,
obviously.
that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a huge gap between being able to make enough money off of something to do it as to give up your job and like beyond that, right? So I think it's
There's people who run on full-on companies with employed contracts who have 10, 15 developers working, namely big Counter-Strike cheats.
so this is like big business. I think it's interesting
For
because
some, yes, definitely. Not for us. It's way more a hobby that went out of control.
I see you're developing your own, you're coding your own hack, right? You're not just like middlemen who are sort of getting keys for a hack and then selling it on.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. So do you guys like sell your keys to other people, in bulk kind of thing, and then have them sell them? I guess almost like drug dealing, right? That's kind of how that works. You make a lot of product and then you kind of give a large amount to a middleman and then they sell it for you, or do you guys the only ones who sell what you make?
It's a little weird comparison to compare to a drug dealer.
I mean, is it though?
Uh, yes, of course. I mean, we're operating a fully legal service on the clear web. I'm not being prosecuted by any law enforcement, thank God, because I'm following the laws.
It's legal. Okay.
Yes, of course, it's completely legal. I mean, the fact that you can just Google it and find it over and over again.
Yeah, like I have to say, I was surprised when I found your guys' website and how professional it looked. It basically just looked like you're buying, you know, anything, really. It's just the kind of website you would expect to see when you're buying any product online. And that is sort of one of the questions I had. It's like, is this legal? Because I would have assumed that it was completely illegal and that, you making money off this would kind of get you in trouble with like taxes and stuff like that with the government. But so they don't have any problem with
I mean, it all depends. I mean, laws only apply to a certain country or place, so it really depends on where you are and also where your counterpart is. In this case, the owner or publisher of the game, which makes it really hard for them to just forbid it. I mean, the world has enough problems, and their main focus right now is not making laws against cheating, obviously.
right, okay. So essentially EA, they don't really have any jurisdiction in that matter over you guys are in Germany, right? Or you're at least in Europe, I think.
Yes, we are in Europe. That's correct.
You're in Europe, okay. Okay. Is this a cheat that's working like at the kernel level on your PC, or is it like something a little more simpler, or maybe even more complicated? It's like, I've seen like it's some sort of an overlay. How does it work?
It's a kernel level anti-cheat. It's cheat, not anti-cheat. Pardon me. It's a kernel level cheat. Uh, that just means that it's the closest to the hardware, right? I mean, the next step would be, I guess, hardware cheating with the direct memory access
Right.
devices.
Yeah. So that's like where you
Uh,
have like a separate card in like, for example, a second. PC.
PCI slot.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's like sort of drawing the information from the memory that's, as far as you understand it, you're not supposed to be able to access that memory, but it can sort of do that in some way.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to access this. I mean, it's your hardware, it's your memory, so you're allowed to do it whatever you want. So,
Right, okay.
and with the card, you're just able to copy certain parts of the memory to a second PC, and there you can then run your cheats, and then you fuse the cheat overlays together on the screen. It's pretty. I mean, the technique is nice, but it's requires a lot of money, and the quality isn't that great, and it's not needed. I mean, there's enough cheats who are not DMA and who are not getting detected. So
Yeah, that's actually a good segue into my next question here because, you know, obviously, like Battlefield, I mean, they've always had anti-cheat systems in the
Mhm.
past, and like they've gotten this new anti-cheat system that they've been raving about recently, and they've put it into Battlefield 5 pretty recently as well. And I didn't try BF5 personally to see like, are there less cheaters in that game now? But from what I've heard, it's improved, but it hasn't fixed the problem. But it's supposed to block most cheats and hacks. At least I think that's the way that the community look at it. They kind of believe that that's what it's doing. Like, what do you think about that? Is EA's anti-cheat like an effective deterrent?
I mean, I think it's a smart decision. They were using easy anti-cheat before, and it's not of them, so they were clearly limited in what they could do themselves against cheaters and in regards to collecting data. Now that they have their own anti-cheat, they obviously have full control over it, which should, in theory, give them better opportunities to handle things against cheaters, for sure.
Right, but it's not stopping you guys, right?
Fix the problem. If you say fix the problem, it's impossible. There's no one is fixing the
Yeah.
problem. There's not a single anti-cheat who has fixed the problem because it's impossible to stop, or we wouldn't have had any cheaters in a single game. If they could fix it, it would have been done already. It's an endless cat and mouse game, and it will, for how it looks right now, stay like this for the coming 5, 10 years. Who knows what AI will do, or maybe they will force us to, at the end, to have your hardware linked to your own identity. God knows what they will do in the future, but for now, uh, it's just a cat and mouse game. So
Yeah, it's that's sort of always the way I've looked at it. Is that I think it's maybe going to deter like some people who aren't that serious about cheating, maybe. But
yeah, I guess yeah, that's you could say that, and definitely it's just a question of who is trying it and how far is he willing to go personally.
yeah. So have you guys ever had any of your hacks get detected or shut down by EA ever? Like has their anti cheat?
No, actually, EA is the only one who never has. Who no, we did not had anything like that with EA ever. We did had a few ban waves, or we had like a few percent of our users get banned, but we didn't had like a full-on detection where like simply everyone who used the cheat or was using it got banned.
Do they do like hardware ID bans when they ban people, or is it just like they just ban your account?
Some customers are reporting, yes. I cannot say from myself from experience because I haven't been banned.
Right. Okay.
But that's also another cat and mouse game, just like cheating, where there's people who's just going to spoof those identities and yeah, going to come back and cheat again.
So is that something you guys do? Do you have to spoof, you know, in case of that, or do you not worry about that?
No, currently we do not offer anything for spoofing in regards for Battlefield. As I said before, we haven't felt the need for it. We haven't been banned ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Um, all our products at the end of the day exist because we want to cheat in a certain game. We do it out of passion and out of joy.
Okay.
And that's how it starts. So
Yeah.
you know.
That's that's an interesting way to look at it. Like that you kind of call it like passion and joy, because I would have thought that not just for the people that you play with, who like obviously you're kind of,
Mhm.
you know, ruining their gameplay experience by cheating against them. But I would have also thought you'd sort of ruin it for yourself, because once you're used to using cheats, like then if you, let's say you switch to another game
Yeah.
and comparably you're going to suck, right? You can't compare to using hacks. So I would have thought it's,
hmm
you know, it's going to diminish like your enjoyment of gaming.
Yeah, it does that for many people. For me, I'm not just playing the game, I'm playing an additional game, and that's not getting caught. So that's more the game I'm playing. I like to legit cheat, so that means that I'm using settings, configurations in the cheats that people won't think that I cheat. That's just how I play. That's what I like. I've been doing it for almost 18 years now.
But you know that
Mm.
you cheat.
Yes, of course I know that I cheat.
So like you can't fool yourself into thinking that you're a good
No,
player,
I'm
right?
not trying to fool myself into thinking that I'm a good player. That's not what I'm cheating for. I'm cheating for not getting caught, and I'm having my own game with the anti-cheat.
So that it's kind of like a rush in a way, I guess.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely. It's been a hobby at start, which just grew completely out of proportion, and now it's a full-time job. I would say, yeah, I mean, it's paying the bills.
Have you ever heard of any anti-cheat blockers that exist for EA anti-cheat? Like I've heard you can almost like an ad blocker that you can just stop or you can fool the game into thinking.
Yeah, you can emulate it. I mean, anything is possible. Personally, I don't know of anyone having it, so
So that's not something
I don't
you
know.
guys have to do. It's just that the anti-cheat just doesn't
No,
detect what you guys have.
no, it's just bypass, correct. Yes.
So yeah, I've heard from some people that like a big reason that, cheat coders are able to get around EA's anti-cheat systems or, maybe other anti-cheat systems in other games is because sometimes people from within the companies, like for example, DICE or EA, they can actually like leak important code, maybe even for a price that sort of assists cheap developers and allows them to like backwards engineer the anti-cheat so they know how to get around it. Like, do you think there's any truth to that? Have you heard of anybody like negotiating in a deal like that?
Well, first I will react from a personal perspective, that we certainly have are not paying anyone. That would also take away the fun. We do this at the comfort of our home, behind the computer, smoking some weed, and the game is getting reversed. That's how it goes. I'm almost sure that those kind of stories existed. Those are hoax stories. I mean, the chances that it actually happens is slim to none. I can't believe that people. It's not needed. It's simply not needed. A guy who is literally 20, 21 years old, or even younger, and is smart enough can do it for himself. Why would he pay anyone from the cheating company? And also the guy who works there would be risking everything, so he would have to get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to risk his job and his career. So that makes zero sense because it's simply not worth it paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get some inside information. If they find out, they simply gonna change it, and then your entire information you bought is useless.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
So
risk for everybody, I guess.
it's a risk for the employee, and it's simply not worth it for the cheat provider. He doesn't need to do it. And also don't have to forget. I mean, for us, it's only interesting if there's a better anti-cheat. The better the job the anti-cheat is doing, the less people are capable of providing cheats,
Right.
thus increasing the price for a product.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the most expensive cheats are for the games that have the most active anti-cheat team.
So then you have less competition.
Of course, the better the anti-cheat is, the less people are going to be able to deal with it in general.
Yeah.
So for the cheat provider, it's actually nice to have at least that the company have an image of a good anti-cheat. That's already enough. For example, Valorant, Vanguard.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like roughly how many cheats do you guys sell? Because this is a big for me. This is a big question of like how many people do cheat in like specifically Battlefield 2042. Personally, I feel like I don't see cheaters that often, but I have people comment on my videos and they say that they feel like they're with a cheater in every game, and I'm like, oh come on, it's just a good player, right? Roughly how like many hacks are you guys selling? Sort of compared to like how many people are playing the game. Obviously, you're making a lot of money off of this, enough to do it as your job, so it must be a decent amount.
So I actually think that the percentage of cheaters in Battlefield 2042 is pretty low, as the community that plays Battlefield are not the people that cheat too much in games. Average age of a Battlefield player is definitely higher compared to other shooter games like Valorant or Counter-Strike. that are infested with cheaters simply because there are more kids interested in it and willing to try it.
Right.
I can't give you direct numbers of how much we are selling.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder why kids are more interested in this than adults.
Because kids are more willing to take risks. I mean, why are kids taking those weird ass drugs on the streets? Because they're just,
Try anything once.
yeah, I don't know, they're just less thinking about the risks, the moral of
Yeah.
it. I don't know how to
Yeah,
say it.
like yeah, that makes sense, I guess. So when it comes to, people buying hacks from you guys, like, do you know of any hacks that have been sold to like known members of the Battlefield community, like content creators or streamers, for example, not just like regular players, but people who it would like be in their interest, maybe financially, to actually be better at the game?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, everyone is able to buy our cheat, but we definitely don't track who is using it and if they're potentially a streamer or whatsoever. We have features inside our cheats which makes it possible to record your screen and share your screen without the cheat showing. So it's definitely possible if those kind of people are interested in it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know. I couldn't tell you if there is one. If there even is one, I don't know.
Right, okay. So yeah, moving on here. How do you feel about selling cheats for Battlefield 2042 from like a morality and accountability standpoint? Obviously, you're profiting at the expense of the other player's enjoyment to sort of increase your own enjoyment. What is your sort of stance on like the ethics of cheating?
Well, I know it's morally wrong, and I'm not making any excuses for it. For me, it just kind of happened, and I got addicted to it. Yeah, for me, it went even further. It's not. I'm not just addicted to cheating, but the entire process of making, finding, and selling it, and having a community who enjoys it. That's what makes my clock tick, I guess.
It's blown up into something more than just like cheating in a game. Now it's about like
Yeah,
it's become bigger than you were expecting, I guess.
yeah. For me, I mean, I don't look at myself bad that I cheat in games. I'm not lying about it, so I'm not playing with my friends or people I know and saying and acting like I'm a good player. Yeah, I'm very open about it to the people around me, and I know that it sucks to play against cheaters. Yeah, it's horrible. There's nothing to say that I can defend it. I wish it wouldn't be possible, to be honest. I wish we had games or solutions where it simply isn't possible to cheat. I would be playing that game for sure.
But you're enabling it yourself, right? You're literally like
Obviously.
creating and selling a
Yeah.
cheat. So it sounds kind of
Yeah.
contradictory what you're saying there. Because you could easily take a massive step to stop this from happening by just like not doing this, right?
That's right. But I'm choosing to do it. I'd rather do it myself and provide the people with an actual good product that is not infecting their PC or stealing any kind of their data. As I said, it started from a hobby myself. I was a customer for a very long time. Uh, Bad things. I have made very bad experiences, being scammed, losing data, being pressured by shady developers for hijacking my accounts and stuff. So I'd rather do it myself. I can have my own working times. It's my hobby. It's my passion. I would be crazy to not do it and let somebody else do it and potentially even do a worse job than me.
Do you not worry though that as the regular player base play against more cheaters, it's going to cause people to stop playing the game, and then in turn you will have less of a customer base, right? Like the more people, the more popular a game is for a game that you have hacks for, the more you're going to sell, presumably.
I don't think cheating is a big factor in how much people are actually playing the game. Of course, there's always a lot of critics about cheaters not getting banned, but I think the quality of the game itself is the number one factor. If we look at Battlefield, that game is pretty much dead at the moment, and that's not because of cheaters, but because EA themselves. I wished for Battlefield to be a great game. I mean, it sounded great when they were introducing it, 64 against 64 players. They had great marketing, great videos and everything, but the game just fucking sucked. I don't think there's many people right now who are leaving because of cheaters, because simply there aren't too many cheaters. Because cheaters don't even want to cheat in a game. There are cheating in other different games that is more fun and that have more people, more updates, more changes. Yeah.
Do you ever worry about getting doxxed or anything?
No, my only worries are that I'm not going to be able to cheat in competitive FPS games in the future due to my age.
Ah, okay.
That's my only worry.
Due to your age. Wait,
If you're talking
you
about
won't be able to
worries.
get into. Is that because you're too young, old to get into a competitive?
No, I'm of course every year I'm getting older and there will come a day where I can't play FPS games anymore. That's the only thing I'm worried for.
Right. Okay. I mean, does that matter though if you're cheating? Like, do you need to be, mechanically good?
Yeah, of course. Well, you need to be somewhat good. I mean, you need to be able to sell it to who everyone who is spectating.
Hmm.
I mean, of course, everyone can press a button and just fully toggle somebody away with the aimbot.
How many cheaters do you think there are in competitive tournaments?
In what sense? Percentage-wise or with, I don't know, I couldn't say, no clue.
Well, I mean, obviously Battlefield doesn't have any, but
Yeah, I was about to say Battlefield doesn't even have a competitive scene.
which actually kind of makes me glad at the moment, in a sense. But yeah, like I don't know, for example, like Call of Duty. Do you think people cheat in competitively and actually like win money?
I don't know, I couldn't tell you. I mean, of course it's happening. People are cheating everywhere on not just games. Cheating is part of human nature. People are cheating in schools, on their job, everywhere where people can cheat, they will try it.
Yeah, if there's an easier way, human beings will take
Yeah,
it.
obviously, yes. Especially lazy people
Yeah.
like me.
So, like, obviously, Battlefield 2042 is kind of coming to an end, like sooner or later.
Yeah, it is.
Like the player base is gonna go down and down and down,
Yeah.
and inevitably, like, less people are gonna be buying your product. So, like, what are you gonna do then?
I mean, we do not only offer Battlefield cheats, we have other brands and other games. We also sell Valorant products. I wish the best for Battlefield, but even if it dies, it doesn't matter to me in a bad way. Also, there's going to be a new Battlefield, which we are prepared for. Obviously, we have a tremendous amount of knowledge of their game engine.
So it's not really that big of a deal to, tweak a few things there and a few things here and get a working cheat as soon as the new game's up and running.
Definitely gives us a good indication on where to look for what and have understanding of how things work. So yeah, even with the new Battlefield, of course, we're going to be here again, trying to continue legacies of other big cheat providers who have stopped making cheats since the last Battlefield.
Yeah, it's kind of scary these days. A game pops up, it releases, and often within like one day, there is a cheat already. It's almost like the cheats are more prepared than like the day one patch for the game or something.
No, it's just people underestimate how incredibly hard it is to combat cheating. It's not something easy to do. There's not a one solution. It's a full-time job, 24/7, non-stop looking, adapting, costs companies a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, Valorant publicly admitted to at least spending like 100 million on their anti-cheat, and that was, as far as I know, just to prepare it for release. God knows how much they've spent on their team until now. Companies simply don't have that money, or let me say it differently, are not willing to spend that money on anti-cheating and rather just keep it in their pockets and return it to the shareholders.
So you think you're going to be doing this, for the foreseeable future, or is it like you're just going to ride this wave until whenever it ends, and then like hope that you banked enough money, or you're going to go get another career, or you think you'll be able to keep just doing this, like every time a new game comes out, you can just make new cheats, and then there's always another game, right? There's always another game.
Yeah, there's multiple opportunities I'm considering. One thing I'm willing to share is that I'm potentially looking into creating our own anti-cheat.
And then selling it to, companies then, presumably.
Yeah, just game developers, whatever. People who are interested. I mean, our team has vast amounts of knowledge about cheating. Those are the perfect match to detect cheaters. Yeah, I mean, everyone who's working right now in anti-cheating and who is good in it is somebody who at some point in his life may cheat himself.
Really? Okay, I was about to ask, like, do you think anybody would actually buy that product knowing like your reputation and where it's come from. But
Of course, there's a lot of anti-cheat developers right now who have a known background in the cheating scene. Of course.
yeah, I mean, I never really considered that, but like when you say it, it makes a lot of sense. It's almost like, I don't know if you've seen this movie called Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he is basically committing fraud, like in the old days with checks and stuff like that,
Yeah,
credit
yeah,
cards,
yeah.
and then
Yes, yes.
eventually he goes to work for the federal government to help them catch other fraudsters. So I guess it's almost
Yeah.
like the same thing there.
Yeah, same with virus detection, malware detection. A lot of guys there change team. They wear a black hat and they change. Of course, because they want a stable life and
Yeah,
a better income and security. So some of them switch. Everything's possible.
yeah.
For now, we are selling cheats, and we keep doing this for the foreseeable future.
Well, I think that's about all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you want to add that you haven't already said?
No, thank you for your time and your interest. You're the first one ever to show interest and talk about something and is doing something. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, obviously, I don't want to promote cheating. I'm not gonna promote your company for you
No,
or anything like that. But
no,
it's
obviously.
just,
No, I mean it more in the sense of that you're doing something about the cheating in Battlefield, trying to put the light on people who are using it.
yeah, I think it's an interesting topic. It's something that people have a lot of assumptions about, but I don't think anybody, unless you've cheated yourself or you're in like your guys' position where you're actually creating cheats. I don't think it's sort of like a hidden world, right? So I thought
Yeah.
it would be interesting to take a look at that and sort of inform people of like what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm very interesting in how people are going to react. I'm pretty sure one of the few Western European cheat providers have been interviewed publicly. Most of them is Russians.
Well, man, I would say good luck, but obviously I'd prefer if you stop what you're doing for the good of the player base.
Yes, but from human to human, I wish you a lot of luck, and also just with your what you're doing and with your work. I thank you and wish you the best.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, I'll say this: I hope one day you move on from creating cheats to something with a little bit more higher moral standing. But
Yes, that's. I hope that as well. Uh, that's the destiny.
yeah, okay, man. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you too. Bye bye.